Steve, this week we're getting back up and falling down and getting back up and falling down again. Let's check this one out. Steve, we're checking out BloodRoots on PC this week. This is a top-down action brawler, one hit, one kill, one hit, one death kind of game. This is a game, I don't know, we've never reviewed a game like this. I've played a couple games in genre like this, and this one has been a lot of fun. It's, fast-paced, there's a ton of action. We have this kind of cool cartoony art style that they play off of, and it does a pretty good job. It's a very bloody game, so I just want to get that out of the way first. I mean, there's a lot of blood and gore here, but they do, again, it's cartoony, so it's just more cartoon violence than anything else. But this one, jumping in, I don't know if you've played a lot of games like this, Steve. What did you think jumping into BloodRoots?
Well, only one word can describe this word: addictive. I have to say, the good thing about it, there's not too many cumbersome controls on it. You can either use your mouse and keyboard, WASD. I think it's right to pick up stuff and on the mouse, and left click to activate the weapon or what you're using. I had trouble with that to start off with because, like you said, it's very fast paced. There's a lot happening, and in some instances, you're on a bit of a time limit. You have to get through it pretty quick. So I actually did jump on the Xbox controller for this one, and that does make a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
But I have to say, I absolutely loved it. There's not much of a story. It's just basically based on revenge, and you just basically have to hack and slash everything, all the bad enemies, to get to the boss to find out who killed you. But one thing I did enjoy, and I'm sure you're going to elaborate on this a bit more, the amount of weapons you can use in this game.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's a plethora of weapons, Steve. Everything in this game is either destructible, you can pick it up, you can use it as a weapon, anything from your fist to a carrot, man. There's so many different kinds of weapons, and that's what really adds to the variety of this game. For the most part, we deal with a lot of the same enemies throughout this, other than some of the bosses. There are a few elite-style enemies as you go through that do have some different abilities that are a little more difficult. But for the most part, this game's all about the weapons that you pick up and use. Every weapon has a limited number of times it can be used, whether it's 1, 2, or 3, and every weapon's a little bit different. It could be hand-to-hand combat, it could just be a thrown weapon like a pot or, a spear. There's guns, I mean, there's chainsaws, grappling hooks. I mean, there's so many different kinds of weapons here, Steve, and that's really what makes this game so much more fun, because as you play through these levels, you die just as quickly as you're killing the enemies. I mean, you can be running through a certain area, and the idea is to clear the area, and then you get to unlock that next area and move on. So if you die on that last enemy, you've got to restart that whole area again. And what I did find in this game is that some areas tend to be larger than others, or at least take longer to clear. And that's where it felt like the difficulty kind of ramped up, because you're sitting there and you're getting through all these enemies, and some of these areas seem to go fairly quickly and you're moving through them pretty fast, but then you get stuck on that one that has maybe 5 or 6 more enemies, or a larger enemy mixed in with a couple other things, and it adds to that challenge. But at the same time, it can be really frustrating because you're just always dying. I mean, when I complete a level, it shows you how many times you died. I'm up in the 40s, the 50s, and it's just like, oh, okay, you still feel good that you get through, and there is that sense of achievement when it happens. But man, this game beats you up.
Oh yes. And like I said, I do love the idea as well. You're not on lives. You don't have like 5 lives or 3 lives, then you have to start again. Yes, as soon as you die, you have to start that chapter bit again, or that way the last progress was. But it's so quick to respawn. And I found that what was happening was when I die, I'll be like a speed runner. And I kept dying on the same things again.
Yeah.
And how frustrating it was. It's like, it worked the first time. And I did notice as well, as you progress, the enemies get a little bit harder as well. You also get sniper rifles that like gathered on the map, and then you see the line of where they're going to shoot, and they got like a gun. And boy, there's so much happening. There's spikes on the ground that you can only get across by actually picking up a barrel and walking on it, and then you can actually flip the barrel and shoot it at an enemy that'll squash them. And It's so quick and hectic. It's manic, but oh my god, it is so much fun. And unfortunately, I've just got to the point of like the first boss because it's not lack of putting the hours in, it's how hard it can be sometimes. And it's good to remember the route you take and what works for you the first time, because it does come in handy. Because I got past the stage in that first boss, but then I got to the next bit and I died and I had to do it all over again, which was brutal. But I do love the cutscenes. Like when you finish the last enemy from that act, because bearing in mind in this story, I believe there's is it four sessions in per act or something like that.
Yeah, it's about 4 to 5, I think, depending on which one it is.
And I think the whole game is 4 acts, about 8 hours long. And I'm going to be longer than 8 hours on this one. But I did love the cutscenes. When you finish that area off, then you get nice cinematic, cartoony of your character, how he does the finishing move. Almost kind of like a Mortal Kombat, but not too much in depth. And it kind of reminds me of the graphical style of like Dexter's Laboratories. If you remember the Nickelodeon kind of, that cartoony kind of feel to it, which for sure. I think it definitely makes this game stand out. And at that point, I did really enjoy the graphical style and the music.
Oh yeah, the music in this game, man, it carries you on. Like the environment we're in is kind of this, they label it Weird West. It's kind of this old Western style. So we get a lot of Western type music, but it has this kind of funky style to it, right? Everything about this game is very stylized. There is a lot of style, especially like you said, when you have these finishing moves. Whatever weapon you may be using to finish off that last character will play in that cutscene, and everything's just a little bit different, whether you're using your fists or a barrel like you said. So this game just oozes that style, and I think that's really what envelops people here and gets them really immersed in this game. But Steve, I'm telling you, I think we could talk about this one a little bit more, but we'd just be gushing. This game is a ton of fun. It's only $20 on Steam. It's available on all platforms. So it's a hard one, to miss. I think a lot of people may not hear about it at first, but if you let people know about this game, I don't think they're going to have a hard time playing it. I think they're going to have a ton of fun with the challenge. If you got to score BloodRoots, what are you going to give it, Steve?
Ooh, I've been thinking about this morning, and to be honest with you, I do love the game. I definitely think it's definitely more... it'd be handy for the handheld, like on the Switch, a game on the go or even if you're in the washroom and you just sort of like, just get in there and just away you go. So on those bases as well, and I did love the game, I'm giving this an 8 out of 10.
All right, you know what? I'm right up there with you too. I enjoyed this game from start to finish. The boss battles were a ton of fun. The challenges, it's what drives you through this game. It is hard. Yes, it's not going to be easy. You're going to die a lot. But being able to jump back in with 0 pause was really what kept me going in this game, right? And the fact is, you can just jump in and jump out if you want to. You don't have to put in long play sessions. That's the beauty of this game. So honestly, Steve, I don't have too much gripe about this game. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10.
BloodRoots is a fun, very addictive top-down hack-and-slash game, with plenty of arsenal at your disposal. The stylish graphics and the funky Wild West music adds to the enjoyment to this game. The quick respawn once you die makes you want to keep on going.